You've got voiceover questions. I've got voiceover answers. What are we covering on this month's Q&A? Beginner mics, your recording space, and figuring out if your voice is good enough. Well, first of all, I have to say you are not alone. Every single pro has felt this. Welcome to Feedback 5, where I answer 5 of your burning voiceover questions, from gear to gigs and everything in between. Hey, and don't forget, if you have a question for a future Feedback 5 Q&A video, drop it down in the comments. I'm doing one of these every month. My name is Amy. I'm a longtime voice actor, Emmy-nominated broadcaster, and your voiceover coach who believes in dishing real, relatable talk about the voice industry. And we have some really great questions to start our very first Feedback 5. Question number 1 is probably one of the most popular questions for people who are just getting into this career in voiceover. And that is, what's the best beginner mic that doesn't cost a fortune? Oh, is this a big one? And I'm going to give you actually twofer. It's going to be a 2-for-1 because I'm going to give you 2 great options. And any of the gear I should mention that I talk about today or in any video, I'm going to leave a link to it down in the description so that you can check out that gear for yourself and see if it's something you want to add to your studio setup. Now, why am I giving you 2 different mics for what's a good, affordable beginner mic? Well, it's because right off the bat, you have a decision to make. You have to decide if you're going to buy a USB mic, which is a microphone that you simply have a USB connection and it connects right into your computer. They are typically lower in cost, but they do sacrifice a little bit of sound quality. But that doesn't mean that you can't get a good one for a decent amount of money. The other option is to go with an XLR mic that is a more professional audio setup. It requires also purchasing some additional equipment to make it work, to power it and to translate its signal into your computer. It'll require something called an audio interface to do that. So typically they require a little bit more of a financial investment up front, but you can still get an affordable version of that. Just keep in mind that you're going to need to buy some additional equipment with it. So my 2 recommendations for what a good beginner mic would be, if you're going to go the USB route, I would recommend the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB. This was actually the microphone I used when I first started in this career more than 15 years ago, and it worked really well for me for a really long time. If you're either A, not sure if this is something that you want to do full force as a career and invest a bunch of money into, a USB mic might be a good way to test the waters. Or even if you know that this is something you really want to pursue, but you just don't have the financial capital up front to really spend a lot of money, you're still safe going with a USB mic, and the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB is a really good way to go. Now, if you do want to get in on an XLR level, you don't have to go crazy right out of the gate in terms of spending a ton of money. The Shure SM7B has pro-level sound for a pretty affordable price. Now, just keep in mind, as I mentioned, it does need an interface and it'll need a boom arm, a shock mount. It's going to need some additional equipment to get it working. But those are the 2 that I would recommend right out of the gates for beginners, depending on if you're going USB or XLR. And this actually has a little bit of a sub-question to it, and that was I had someone write in a recent week here on the channel asking what I use for my voiceovers, as in, what is this that I'm using right here? What's in my booth? Well, I'll be happy to tell you it is the Neumann TLM 103. This microphone is essentially the gold standard for voice actors, but keep in mind, this is a significant investment. And so unless you've got a lot of money to play around with right out of the gate, purchasing a microphone like this is only really worth it after your recording space and your skills are really solid. But hey, I'll leave a link for it down in the description if you'd like to check it out. The bottom line here with this question is start with what fits your budget and your space. Don't overbuy here with your microphone. Even though the microphone is the key to really getting your voice out there, the gear doesn't make the voice actor. It just helps them to shine, and you don't want to overspend right up front. That really leads to our second question for Feedback 5 this month, and that is, well, when's the right time to upgrade my gear or invest in some coaching? And this is a great question because honestly, this career is about kind of eternal upgrades and investing in yourself, in your skills, in your recording space, in your equipment. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. Do you want to upgrade your gear at this point in time, or sign up for that new workshop, or sign up for a packet of 6 to 10 coaching sessions with a new vocal coach? Do you want to do those things because there is an actual, legitimate, tangible problem that you're trying to solve? Or is it just a case of shiny object syndrome where it seems bigger and better, and if I get the bigger, better thing, it would be fun and it'll just automatically help me be more successful? And trust me, when you get into this field, if for any of you who are in the field already, you know when new gear comes out, it's so tempting to snap it up because it's just got all of the latest features and it's got all of the little, cool gadgets and just everything is better because it's newer technology. Don't upgrade your gear if your recording space or your vocal skills still need work. Because if those two things need to be improved, a bigger, better microphone or a bigger, fancier audio interface is not going to necessarily turn things around for you. You've got to make sure that your recording space is optimized. You have to make sure that your skills are top notch. And the same goes there for coaching. Coaching is absolutely a great investment if you're just getting started and you don't have any mic technique skills or voiceover skills, or once you've been going for a little while and you feel like you've hit a plateau and you're not, you're having trouble booking more gigs, or you're getting the same kind of feedback over and over again. Those are good times to invest in coaching, or if you're wanting to maybe add a new skill to your repertoire. And so essentially you want to think, ROI, return on investment. Is upgrading my gear or purchasing additional coaching and workshops, will this help you land more work, or is it just going to make you feel more like a pro? And so you really have to distinguish the fine line right there. You want to make sure that any investment that you make in yourself, your skills, your equipment, your recording space, that you will eventually get a return on that money. Now, I keep saying, make sure your recording space is good enough. Question number 3 this month is, how do I know if my recording space is actually good enough? When do I know that, okay, I've optimized the space that I record in sufficiently that if I wanted to upgrade some things, it would be a benefit? And I'm assuming if you're asking this question that you have already gotten some at least basic gear, or maybe you have a full studio setup. So you turn on your microphone, you open your DAW, which is your digital audio workstation. That's your recording software. You hit record, and you're going to record 20 seconds of raw audio, no processing, just talk for 20 seconds, and then leave yourself 10 seconds of silence, and then hit stop. Then you're going to put on a pair of over-the-ear studio headphones. Unlike when you're critiquing yourself in terms of, do I like that take? Do I need to do that differently? You're not listening for your vocal performance this time around. You're listening to the actual quality of the audio that you're hearing. Does your voice sound clear and warm and close in your ears, or does it sound tinny? Does it have some kind of electronic glitching in it? Do you hear echo? Does it sound like you're really far away? In the silent part of that recording, what do you hear in the background? Do you hear traffic? Do you hear the hum of your computer fan? Do you hear someone walking around the house, or water coming down because someone's taking a shower somewhere else in the house, and the water's coming down through the return pipes near your recording space? Can you hear your air conditioner running? There's tons of things. Can you hear a lawnmower outside or a dog barking down the street? Those are all of the things you want to actively be looking for and listening for when you record that raw audio. Make sure your doors are closed to your recording space. Make sure the air conditioner is off. Make sure you've treated the walls, treated the ceiling, treated the floors. That's all a start. If your sound that you hear when you play back is clean, quiet, and consistent, then you're likely ready to audition, keep auditioning, and your recording space is likely optimized. And what you can do is just always keep improving your recording space from there. You can always make it better until you kind of hit that sweet spot. And one quick side note, if you are really just starting to put your recording studio together, if it's not something that you've got up and running yet, then definitely check out and download my free Voice Actors Home Studio Starter Pack. It is a free PDF download that will walk you through 10 things that every beginner voice actor's studio needs to get set up at home, affordable options, and I will leave the link to that down in the description. Now, when you start booking work, the great problem for any voice actor to have is to sit down at their desk in the morning, open up their computer, and they've got a dozen auditions staring at them, and they have maybe 3 or 4 projects laying in their inbox that they have to get started on. And so question number 4 is, how do you stay organized day to day as a voice actor when you've got everything to juggle, like client correspondence, marketing initiatives, maybe sending out emails to potential clients, auditions to get done, current projects to work on, keeping track of all the deadlines? It's really overwhelming. Time management, just like any freelance business, is essential in this business. And so, you're wearing a dozen different hats during the day, and it means you have to manage a dozen different tasks and a dozen different things that you have to get done. Here's my trick for keeping myself sane each and every day, for making sure I don't miss a deadline, and making sure that I've optimized my time to be as efficient as possible. I batch everything. I do batch work no matter what I'm doing. So I batch all of my auditions. I batch all of my project work. I batch all of my email correspondence. And then in each of those categories, I kind of sub-batch. When I do auditions, I do all of the recording first. I sit down and I do one massive recording session, recording the audio for all of my auditions. Then I edit each one, and then I upload each one of them into the audition project and send it off. It makes it go a little more efficiently. And the same thing then happens when I'm working on projects. If I've got maybe 2, 3, 4 30-second commercial spots to do, well, I'll just sit down and record all of those commercial spots all at once in different project folders. Then I'll go back and edit them all. Then I'll go back and optimize the audio on all of them and process the audio, export them all, and then I'll send out the finished product to each of the clients. So really, for me, that's the easiest way to get everything done in an efficient amount of time, is to batch everything. Also, every client and project gets its own separate folder on my computer with very clear file naming. And I am a huge fan of my whiteboard calendar. I have it hanging on the wall in my office, and my whiteboard calendar allows me to write on there the deadlines I have for every project. And I typically write the word count for each project underneath the name of it on the date that it's due. And that way, at an instant's notice, I can take a look at that calendar and know what's coming up due this week, as well as how long it's going to take me to record it, edit it, and get it done based on how many words are involved with that deadline. And yes, I know there's plenty of online calendar resources that you can use. I'm old school that way. I like to have it physically written where I can see it at any second. And I'll even leave a link to one that I really like down in the description. It is a really, really easy and very noticeable way to keep track of all of your projects. Because the last thing you want when you sit down at your desk every day is to feel frazzled because you've got too much going on and you don't know where to start. Come up with your own system. I'm just giving you what I have developed as my system over the years, and you will eventually find a routine that works for you in a system management that makes everything get done efficiently and in a way that you can easily keep track of your deadlines. Finally, I left this question for last because this question isn't necessarily completely straightforward, but it's a great question. Someone wrote in and said, I think I have a decent voice, but I'm scared that I'm not good enough. How do I know if voiceover is right for me? Well, first of all, I have to say you are not alone. Every single pro has felt this. I have definitely felt this. Whether it's our good, dear old friend imposter syndrome, where I've had moments of that, wondering, who do I think I am, or how am I going to get into this industry? Just little old me sitting in my home studio. Yes, I have experience. Yes, I have a background in some of these things, but really, am I going to find my path? All of us who are in the voiceover industry are constantly listening to the quality of voiceovers that we hear every day. And it's very easy to hear others who do a fantastic voiceover performance and say, well, wow, I'm not that good, am I? Like, I can't compete with a voice like that or a performance like that. It's really easy to go down that rabbit hole. Here is the truth. The truth is that yes, natural voice talent helps, but really consistency, coaching, and resilience matter more. Remember that word resilience, because I have a video coming up next week that's going to really take a deep dive on resilience in this industry. So if you love voiceover, if you think you have a decent voice, as you say, and you really want to get into this, and you're willing to learn and to show up every day, even when it's tough, and believe me, there are days that it's going to be tough, then you absolutely have what it takes. In fact, these days, more and more people who don't even have necessarily a good voice in kind of the old-fashioned sense of the word are finding work because natural, real, everyday voices are really what people relate to and are gravitating towards. So if you think you have a good voice and voiceover is something that you're really excited about and you really want to put the effort in, listen, your voice is just part of the story, but your effort, your attitude, and your growth are going to write the rest of the story. And I say, you've got this. Hey, you asked some really good questions for me to answer this month, but now I want you to ask yourselves some really important questions. And I have a great video that you should watch where I walk you through 10 serious questions to answer for yourself when you're trying to figure out if this career is right for you or not. So if you're ready for some real talk and some soul searching, then watch this video right here and subscribe to the channel if you want more voiceover tips, tricks, techniques, and encouragement. And hey, don't forget to drop your question in the comments for next month's edition of Feedback 5. I'll see you then.